Someone from heaven is trying to talk to you about a person who is leaving you forever, my beloved child. Have you ever felt an invisible hand brushing past your shoulder? A sudden chill, a whisper in your ear when no one is around. That's not your imagination. That's not coincidence. It's a message. A desperate cry from someone who no longer walks this earth but still walks beside you. There's someone from heaven watching you right now. They've been trying to reach you, not to scare you but to prepare you. Because someone you love, someone you trust is about to walk out of your life. Through heaven, not through death, but through decision. And heaven knows it's going to break you. This is not just a story. This is your story. Someone above has been whispering through signs, dreams, déjà vu moments, even in random music you hear, hoping you'd listen. What you didn't. Not yet. Tonight, they tried again. And this time, you're here to listen closely. They're saying, tell them before it's too late. Tell you what, let's go back to a moment that changed everything. You were just a child when you first met this person. Not in the physical world, but in a dream. A shadowy figure, comforting, familiar, unforgettable. You didn't know it then, but that soul was meant to walk a long path with you. Until now. They were sent to you with purpose. To teach you love. To teach you pain. To prepare you for their departure. Because heaven always knew they would not stay. But why now? Why are they leaving? And what could you possibly do to stop it? You'll know soon. Because everything every second from now is a countdown. The person about to leave you is showing signs already. A distant look. Less laughter. More silence. They aren't gone yet, but their soul is already walking away. And you feel it. In your gut. In your dreams. In the sudden tears you can't explain. Heaven feels it too. The voice trying to reach you is someone you once loved deeply. They've passed on, but never passed away from your side. It could be your grandmother, your best friend, a sibling, a parent. They see what's coming and they want to stop your heart from breaking completely. They are screaming into the winds of time, hoping you'll hear this message. Prepare yourself. Look deeper. Someone is not who they used to be. And yet you keep hoping it's all in your head. But what if it's not? What if the person you're losing is choosing to walk away and you're the last one to see it? The signs were always there. And heaven has had enough of your silence. Stay till the end because the truth is about to hurt. But it will also set you free. My beloved child, as the veil between this world and the unseen trembles, that whisper you felt, that shivered down your spine, wasn't just emotion. It was a reality trying to break through to you. You might think you understand loss, pain, separation. You might even have rehearsed it in your mind 1,000 times. But nothing prepares you for the moment when someone who once filled your whole world starts leaving your every tomorrow. And right now, someone from heaven is trying to talk to you about that person who is slipping away. Maybe you've noticed small things. Odd coincidences you brushed off as random. Music that plays unexpectedly just as your mind drifts to them. Dreams that feel too vivid to be imagination. A scent in the air. A flash of memory in perfect detail. A name whispered at 3:07 in the morning. These aren't accidents. These aren't your thoughts wandering aimlessly. These are echoes of a soul that once belonged fully to your present life and now is fading like mist at sunrise. You might ask, why are they leaving me? And that question, plain as it sounds, hides a storm beneath it. People don't leave because they don't care. People walk away because something inside them has already stopped believing that they can stay. They may act distant, distracted, or disconnected, but deep down, it's like their heart already stepped out of the room while their body stays seated beside you. And your intuition knows this. You feel it. That's why you're here. That's why you heard the calling, even if you tried to ignore it. Right now, this person, your person, is struggling. They are battling shadows you can't see and fears they haven't confessed. It's not that they don't love you anymore, it's that the version of themselves that loved you with fire and commitment is burning out, and they don't know how to tell you without shattering you. So instead, they distance themselves slowly, like a slow fade on an old photograph. This is where heaven steps in. The person who already crossed over, your guardian, your lost loved one, your invisible coach, is screaming through signs, through intuition, through dreams, saying, "Pay attention. Wake up. Don't miss this." They see what you are refusing to see. They see the pattern before your heart cracks open, and they are desperate for you to understand that this isn't random. This isn't imagination. This is a warning, a revelation, and a preparation. You've been told to sit with your feelings. You've been told to pray, to meditate, to breathe. But what if deeper than that? What if you are being asked to look, really look, into the shifts happening in your relationship? You observe not just what is visible, but what is absent. The laughter that used to fill your spaces that now feels forced. The conversations that used to be endless now reduced to short sentences or silence. The warmth that once greeted you now replaced by a chill that fills the room even when the temperature is warm. Heaven isn't disguised in dramatic thunderclaps or flashy signs. Instead, it speaks in subtle nudges, and the feeling of dread mixed with love, and déjà vu that feels like a message stamped into your soul. You might wake up and think, "Why do I feel this heaviness?" It's because someone who should be present is already emotionally absent, and the one watching from beyond knows it before you do. They know pain before you feel it. They know goodbye before your lips can speak it. Now I know what you're thinking. But maybe it's my fear. Maybe I'm just anxious. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. But listen, fear keeps you awake at night, but intuition speaks with clarity you can't ignore. Fear is erratic. Intuition is consistent. And that whisper you felt, that lingering emotion that returns like a shadow at dusk, that isn't fear. That's truth trying to reach you. Let's imagine for a second that this person truly is leaving. Not because they want to hurt you, not because they stopped caring, but because something inside them has broken, and they don't know how to mend it with you by their side. Maybe they feel unworthy. Maybe they are fighting battles internally that they haven't revealed. Maybe their love for you is real, but their capacity to stay is fading like ink in the sun. And if you don't realize this now, you might get hit by the truth when you least expect it, when your defenses are down and your heart is open. The person watching you from heaven had been there. They felt loss. They felt confusion. They know what it looks like when someone you love slowly detaches. And they are trying to give you foresight so that when it happens, you won't be left shattered with no understanding of how it slipped away. They want you to see the signs before it's too late. They want you to prepare your heart. Because love without preparation can become heartbreak without meaning. You might ask again, is there a way to fix it? And the answer isn't simple. Because fixing doesn't always mean saving the relationship. Fixing might mean saving yourself, so that when this person leaves, you don't crumble into pieces. You rise. You breathe. You acknowledge the pain, and then you grow from it. The one in heaven doesn't want you to chase someone who doesn't want to stay. They want you to understand your worth before the law strikes so that you don't lose yourself in the process. Right now, this person is like a butterfly that once settled on your heart but now flutters away because something within their world changed. And while that hurts, it doesn't reduce the beauty of what you shared. That's the cruel paradox of love. It can be magnificent and painful at the same time. And heaven knows this. That's why this message reaches you now, not after the loss, but before. So you're not blindsided. So you can prepare. So you can see with clarity what your heart hath been sensing all along. But hear this. Acknowledging the truth doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you stop lying to yourself. It means you open your eyes when your heart wants to hide them. It means you listen when your soul speaks louder than your mind wants to accept. So here, in this moment, I ask you to open your heart fully, not to fear, not to pain, but to understanding. Because what's coming isn't random. It's been approaching like a silent storm. And someone from heaven is trying to make sure you're aware before the first drop hits. If this resonates, if you feel it deep in your bones, if your heart is whispering truth to you even as your mind resists, then share this with someone who needs to hear it. Comment your feelings. Subscribe if you want more truth thrown into the shadows of your reality. Don't skip any part of this message. Something huge is waiting for you. My beloved child, do you feel the silence growing heavier? That silence isn't empty. It's filled with things unsaid, moments that could have been, and words that were never spoken. That silence is a scream in disguise, and heaven hears it louder than you do. The one watching over you from beyond, the soul that never left your side, is feeling your confusion, your helplessness, and your desperate need for clarity. That's why the signs are growing stronger. That's why your dreams are becoming more vivid. That's why you feel that something irreversible is happening even when no one has told you. You've always had a connection with this person, a string between your hearts, invisible but unbreakable. But lately that string feels frayed, like something is pulling it tighter, closer to the snapping point. You've tried to pretend it's fine. You've smiled in the mirror and told yourself, they're just going through something. It'll pass. But every time you say that, the hollow feeling in your chest grows a little deeper. There was a time when their presence was your peace. Just hearing their voice could calm a storm inside you. But now, your words feel distant, mechanical, like they are reading from a script and not speaking from the heart. And it terrifies you because you remember what it used to be. You remember the spark, the laughter, the comfort. And now all you see is a fading light that used to shine just for you. You ask yourself, when did it change? But the truth is, it didn't happen in a single moment. It happened slowly, quietly, in missed calls, in shorter texts, in the way they started saying I'm tired more often than I miss you. And heaven saw it first. That's why they're trying to reach you. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because the emotional goodbye often comes before the physical one. And you are standing right on the edge of that emotional goodbye. There are layers to this loss. You're not just losing a person. You're losing the version of yourself that existed with them. The person who felt chosen, seen, needed. And now that version of you feels like it's slipping away too. That's why it hurts so much. It's not just about them walking away. It's about you wondering who you'll be when they're gone. And still, you hold on. Because love makes you believe in miracles even when the reality is screaming otherwise. But holding on too tightly to someone who's already halfway out the door doesn't keep them closer. It only bruises your hands. And the one in heaven knows this pain. They once held on too tightly to someone they loved, and now from their place of peace, they are trying to help you let go before it destroys you. You were never meant to carry this alone. That's why this message found you. That's why your soul is still listening. Because deep down, you know something's about to shift. You can feel the tremble in the foundation of your connection. And maybe the person you love can't say it out loud, but their actions have been whispering it for weeks, maybe months. There's a memory trying to surface, one that holds a clue. Do you remember the last time they looked at you like you were their whole world? How long ago was that? And since then, what changed? Did they get quieter? More distracted? Less present? That's not your fault. That's not their fault either. It's the nature of souls. Sometimes they align, they dance, and sometimes they drift. But you need to see it now before the goodbye becomes a permanent echo. They haven't left yet. And that's the gift in this moment. You still have a choice. You can have a conversation. You can ask the hard questions. You can open your heart one last time, not to beg, not to cling, but to understand. To find peace in whatever answer they give. Because peace is stronger than pretending. Your guardian, the one who passed, the one who's been with you in every tear and smile, they are closer than ever now. They are surrounding you with strength because they know you're going to need it. They are not trying to stop the pain. They are trying to hold your soul steady as the wave approaches. Because when it hits, they don't want you to sink. They want you to rise. To remember that even if this person leaves, love never really does. It transforms. It evolves. And sometimes it teaches us more in its absence than it ever could in its presence. You are not alone in this. You never were. The message from beyond is this. What you are about to face is not the end. It's a beginning in disguise. And though you may cry and ache and wonder why, it will all make sense one day. Maybe not today, but one day you'll look back and realize that this pain shaped your strength. This loss awakened your truth. But for now, don't ignore the signs. Don't silence the voice inside you. Don't pretend it's all okay when your heart knows it's not. Look them in the eyes. Speak your truth. Be brave enough to hear theirs. And then, whatever happens next, know this. You were courageous enough to face it with open eyes and an open heart. Stay till the end. Something powerful is unfolding. My beloved child, you might feel as though your heart is standing at the edge of something colossal, as if the air around you has thickened and the world has slowed just enough for you to feel every beat of your soul. That heaviness is not random. It's truth pressing against your spirit, demanding that you no longer ignore what your heart has been whispering. The person you love, the one whose presence used to feel like sunrise, is now becoming more like dusk, a slowing light that once radiated warmth and now flickers with uncertainty. And the one from heaven who watches over you, who has been trying to reach you for weeks through signs, dreams, subtle nudges, knows what you are afraid to admit. Something is slipping away, something sacred is unraveling, and unless you awaken fully, you may miss it before it's gone. You might wonder why it hurts this much. After all, they haven't said goodbye. They haven't packed their things. They haven't walked out the door with a final wave. But love doesn't wait for closure to fracture. Sometimes it crumbles from the inside out, long before the physical departure. It starts with little things, a delayed response, a shorter goodnight, a distraction that wasn't there before. And each small moment, though it feels insignificant at the time, adds up like drops of water filling a glass. until one day, the glass overflows with truth that can no longer be denied. And you, my beloved child, are feeling the overflow. Right now, that universe around you feels unstable. You might feel like you're holding your breath without realizing it, like you're waiting for a storm that hasn't yet arrived, but whose thunder you can already hear in the distance. The one watching from heaven, the soul that loved you deeply and then stepped into the light, they are trying to give you insight before the thunder crashes down. They are whispering through subtle moments, through the songs that come up when your mind drifts to them, through the dreams that leave you waking with tears you don't understand, through that unexplainable tug in your heart that feels stronger than any fear you've ever known. That is not fear. That is truth reaching out. And you need to acknowledge it, not push it away, because denial will only make what is coming hit you harder. You've been pretending that everything is fine. You've been telling yourself that love always has seasons, that this low point is just temporary, that it's just stress or exhaustion or life happening. But deep down, you know it's more than that. You know your person isn't as present as they used to be. You know their eyes don't light up the same way when they look at you. You know the laughter that once came easily between you now feels forced, heavy, rare. And you know, even if you won't say it out loud, that something is changing in a way that may not be reversible. You might be asking yourself how to approach them, how to talk about what you are sensing without pushing them farther away. But sometimes the truth doesn't need to be disguised in gentle words. Sometimes what a heart needs is honesty, raw and steady. Speak to them from the deepest part of you, the part that knows pain but refuses to lie about it. Speak your fear, your love, your longing, your confusion out loud. Let the weight of your words settle in the space between you. Because only in transparency can you discover whether the soul once entwined with yours still wants to walk beside you or has already started drifting away. And while you prepare to have that conversation, know that you do not walk into it alone. Heaven is with you. The one who has crossed over is right beside you in spirit, urging you onward. They are not whispering for you to push someone away, nor are they telling you to beg for love that isn't fully given. They are urging you to see clearly, to love honestly, to stand firm in your truth even when your heart trembles like a leaf in the wind. Right now, you may feel tears welling up. You might feel like you are standing on the edge of an emotional cliff, unsure whether to step forward or retreat. That trembling is not weakness. It's the soul acknowledging that something big is about to happen, something that will change the course of your story forever. You may feel afraid, but fear often disguises itself as denial, as distraction, as avoidance. But you don't have to give in to that fear. You can face this moment with bravery, because bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is feeling the fear and acting with love anyway. And here, in this moment, you might be realizing that the person you love may not be leaving because they don't care, but because they are struggling with their own battles, their own inner resistance, their own fears about being enough, about staying long enough, about not hurting you. Sometimes people leave not because love died, but because they feel incapable of staying past a pain they can't conquer. That doesn't make it right, but it does make it human. And you deserve human honesty, not a fading shadow of connection that once was brilliant. So take a deep breath, let your heart speak, and when you feel the words forming inside you, gently tell them how you feel. Tell them the truth about the signs you've noticed. Tell them that your spirit is urging you to understand what's happening between you. Tell them that even if the outcome is painful, you need clarity, not confusion. Real love does not fear truth. Real love does not disappear when honesty enters the room. And even if your person's answer is not what you hope for, you will step into your own power and dignity by facing the truth head on. And before you have that heart-to-heart moment, do something courageous. Share your feelings with someone you trust. Comment what's in your heart. Subscribe to support that voice inside you that yearns for clarity and peace. Because you are not meant to hold this alone. You are meant to rise above hesitation and step into a version of yourself that sees love clearly, honestly, bravely. Don't skip over any part of this message. Something huge is waiting for you. Your life is about to shift in a way that may feel painful now, but will reveal strength you never knew you had. And through it all, the one who watches from heaven stands with you, guiding you toward your truth, toward your peace, toward your soul's awakening. My beloved child, by now you can feel the tension in the air as though the world itself is leaning in, waiting for your heart to speak what truth it has been holding in silence for far too long. Your soul is no longer content with half answers and vague hopes. It wants clarity. It wants truth. It wants to see the situation as it truly is, not as your fear has dressed it up to protect you. And that yearning in your chest, that quiet ache that comes when you think no one is watching, is the voice of your deeper self, the part of you that knows that something immense and irreversible is unfolding in your life, and that you are being prepared for it whether you want it or not. You may wake up some mornings with a heaviness that doesn't belong to the world around you, a kind of pressure that settles into your chest before your feet even touch the floor. You wonder where it comes from, why you feel it so deeply, and why, despite all your logical reasoning, your heart refuses to be comforted by simple explanations. That is because your heart is sensing what your mind wants to deny, that the person you love, the one whose presence once felt like a promise of forever, has already begun to withdraw from your shared reality in ways you cannot ignore. Love is not something that gently fades without leaving traces. Even when people attempt to hide their distance, their actions betray them. Words become shorter, conversations become strained, silences become heavier, and before you know it, the warmth that once filled your space with ease turns into a coolness that lingers in the corners of every room you both occupy. You might try to laugh it off, to convince yourself that everything is fine, but deep down you know that something has shifted. You can feel it in the way your chest tightens when your phone doesn't light up with their name. You can feel it in the empty space that wasn't there before, the quiet after their voice hangs up, the stillness of not hearing from them for hours that used to feel impossible. And as all of this happens, the one from heaven who watches over you has not been silent. They have been nudging you persistently, giving you signs in ways subtle but unmistakable to a heart that is finally willing to listen. Maybe you dreamed of them at a moment when you were thinking of your person. Maybe a song came on that felt too perfect, too connected to your inner world. Maybe a memory surfaced vividly with a clarity that startled you. These are not coincidences. These are unspoken messages. Ripples from the spiritual realm meant to pull your attention toward what is happening in your life. You might wonder why heaven would even be concerned with a relationship that has not yet ended in the physical sense. But what the unseen realm understands, what your guardian, your loved one who has crossed on, knows, is that emotional departures often begin long before physical ones. They know that what is unfolding inside you is not just a reaction to surface events, but is rooted in a deeper truth about connection and separation. They are trying to prepare you so that when the moment of truth comes, when the words "I need space" or "I'm not sure" anymore slip into your reality, you will not be caught off guard. Now, you may be struggling with heartbreak, even before the formal goodbye has been spoken. That's because your intuition has already caught the truth before your mind was ready to accept it. Your heart has been whispering it to you in the quietest moments, in the way you find yourself staring out the window with tears gathering at the corners of your eyes. even when you try to convince yourself you are okay. In the ache that arrives without warning, causing your breath to catch for a moment. In the feeling that something unfinished is hovering over your every step. It is time to stop smoothing over the cracks with hope and start facing the truth with courage. You may worry that acknowledging this shift will destroy what's left of your connection. But denial does not preserve love. It only delays the inevitable, making the eventual realization more shattering. Truth, even when painful, is a healer in disguise. It gives you the opportunity to confront reality with strength, dignity, and grace. So let your heart speak honestly. Let your voice carry the truth you have been holding inside. When you finally have the conversation with your beloved, let your words be guided not by fear but by clarity. Tell them what you sensed. Tell them how their absence in little ways has caused a great upheaval in your spirit. You do not need to accuse. You do not need to plead. You simply need to speak your truth from a place of love, a love that refuses to be quiet even in the face of pain. And in doing so, you will gift yourself something extraordinary, the freedom to see clearly, the courage to face whatever answer comes without shrinking inside yourself. Whether the answer brings reconciliation or separation, you will stand on firm ground because you face the truth with open eyes and a brave heart. That is strength. That is growth. That is love matured by reality, not softened by avoidance. Your guardian in heaven, the Spirit who has known both connection and loss, wants you to understand that love does not disappear simply because someone changes or walks away. Love transforms. It becomes a teacher. It becomes a memory that strengthens your capacity to give and to receive love again in ways that honor your worth. The pain you feel now is not the end of your story. It is a threshold on the path to your own emotional awakening. When you look back on this moment years from now, you will see it as a turning point, one where you stopped living in the shadow of fear and embraced the radiant, albeit painful, light of truth. You will see that love, even when it feels like it is dying, can still serve the highest purpose, teaching you about your own resilience, your own capacity for tenderness, and your own readiness to step into a fuller expression of your heart. And as you prepare to speak your truth aloud, and as you listen to whatever response comes, know that you are not wandering through this alone. The one who watches over you in spirit stands beside you, offering strength, clarity, and love. Your soul may tremble, but it will not break. Your heart may ache, but it will expand. And through it all, you will learn that even loss can be beautiful when it reveals the depth of who you truly are. Stay till the end. Something immense is about to unfold in your life, and your spirit is ready to meet it with courage. My beloved child, as the world around you seems to hold its breath, your spirit pulses with an unspoken weight. There is a heaviness that refuses to be ignored, a truth that shimmers beneath the surface of your daily life like a mirage that grows clearer with each passing day. You've lived with an undercurrent of tension for so long that you almost forgot it was there, quietly edging closer to your awareness, urging you to look deeper, to feel more honestly, to recognize what your heart has already known all along. That person you love, the one whose presence once felt like sunlight warming your skin, has begun to move away from you, not in abrupt departure, but in the silent subtlety of drifting. And even though their physical form remains near, their emotional presence has begun to slip through your fingers like water escaping from a cracked vase. The pain of such a shift does not announce itself with a single thunderclap. Instead, it creeps into your awareness through moments of silence where laughter once lived, through half-responses in conversations that used to be rich and full, through a kind of vacancy in their eyes that wasn't there before. You catch yourself searching for the warmth you knew, only to find coldness staring back at you in the mirror. And what makes it even more bewildering is that they haven't left physically. They remain beside you, but their soul seems to be walking on a path that no longer intersects with yours in the ways it once did. That pain is sharp, because the body remains present while the heart is already sensing the distance. And here, at the edge of your emotional endurance, the one watching you from heaven, the soul that once lived within the love you knew, wants to reveal a sacred truth that you are now ready to receive. There is a difference between someone who loves and someone who stays. You may be experiencing the heartbreak of recognizing that love alone cannot always keep a soul tethered to another. Some connections, no matter how deep, are meant to teach you who you are before they dissolve. And the spiritual guide who watches you with infinite compassion knows this. They are whispering to you through signs that have become impossible to ignore, the dreams that feel too real, the tears that come without warning, the intuition that stirs your heart with relentless persistence. You have sensed that something is happening. You are not imagining it. Your heart is speaking a language your mind has been afraid to translate. You feel unanchored because the person you once counted on as your emotional compass is no longer guiding you the way they used to. And every moment you spend pretending that everything is fine is like a small fracture expanding within your soul. The truth is not an enemy. It is a liberation. The pain you feel is not the end of your story. It is the opening chapter of a deeper understanding of love, loss, and your own incredible capacity for resilience. Your beloved may not know how to express the turmoil inside them. They may be grappling with fears they cannot voice, wounds they have never healed, or uncertainties that they cannot share with you. When someone begins to withdraw emotionally without explaining why, it is not necessarily because they love you less. It can be because they are overwhelmed by their own internal battle, and they lack the tools to meet you in your shared pain. That doesn't make your suffering any less real, but it does help you see that their behavior is a reflection of their inner world, not a measure of your worth. It's important for you to understand that love sometimes takes people to places where they cannot invite you, and that has nothing to do with your value. In fact, it has everything to do with the journey each soul must take in order to grow. Some paths are meant to converge for a season, and then diverge once the lesson is absorbed. Your heart may not want to accept this because it longs for permanence. But the universe does not guarantee permanence. What it does promise is revelation, evolution, and the opportunity to become stronger, more aware, and more deeply connected to your own truth. What you are feeling right now, the ache, the fear, the wanting, are not signs of weakness. They are signs of your depth. They reveal that your capacity to love is vast and unguarded. You love not with self-protection, but with surrender. And that kind of love changes everything within you. It does not disappear. It transforms into wisdom. It becomes the foundation upon which you can build a future that is not dependent on someone else's ability to stay, but on your own capacity to rise, to heal, and to love anew. Your spiritual guide wants you to hear this. You were never meant to be alone, but you were meant to know that your worth is not defined by another's presence. The pain of separation is not an indictment of your lovability. It is a reminder that every connection, no matter how significant, can also be a teacher. And the deepest teacher of all is truth. When you align with the truth of what is happening, you free your heart from the chain of confusion. You step into clarity, even if that clarity is painful. It's time to let your heart speak honestly, to release the fear that has been weighing it down, and to engage with your beloved with transparency, emotional courage, and compassionate strength. Sit with them, look into their eyes, and speak the truth you have been carrying. Tell them how you feel. Tell them what you see. Tell them that your heart knows there is something shifting between you. Do not plead. Do not beg. Speak with calm sincerity. Invite them into a conversation that honors both your vulnerability and your dignity. Whatever comes from that conversation will serve your soul. If they choose to stay, it will be because their heart is clear and present. If they choose to walk away, it will be because their journey requires them to continue without you. And in either case, your heart will be stronger for having faced the truth. You will move forward with integrity, not regret. And as you prepare for that moment, let your spirit be bolstered by the presence of your guardian above. They are with you, not as a distant watcher, but as an active guide, urging you toward clarity, compassion, and courage. They are holding you in a sacred embrace that says, you are not alone. You are loved, and you are capable of facing this with grace. Share your feelings with someone you trust. Comment what stirs within you. Subscribe so that your heart stays connected to truths that elevate rather than diminish you. Stay till the end. Your story is not over, and something powerful is unfolding within your soul even as you read these words. Something huge is waiting for you. My beloved child, can you feel your heart beating in your throat as the truth you have been resisting begins to rise like a tide within your soul? The tension that has been tightening around you feels unbearable because it is a crossroads, and your spirit knows it. You're standing at the junction between holding on and letting go, between hope and reality, between love that was once alive and love that is morphing into its next form. And you cannot walk through this without feeling every tremor that comes with it. But the pain you feel is not random, nor is it a punishment. It is an invitation, a fierce, loving call to awaken from denial and step into a deeper truth about your life, your relationships, and your divine capacity to grow through heartbreak rather than be destroyed by it. Your beloved may still be physically present with you, but their emotional withdrawal has already created a space between you that feels overwhelming. You have felt that distance in the way their voice sounds less warm, in the way their eyes drift away when you look at them, in the empty pauses that linger longer than they used to. Those subtle shifts are not figments of your imagination. They are real, and they are telling you something profound. Your connection is changing. Love does not always end with closure or confrontation. Sometimes it dissolves slowly, like sugar melting in water, until the sweetness once felt is now indistinguishable from the clear truth that remains. And that truth can be painful because it demands that you stop pretending everything is fine when you can feel the unraveling deep within your heart. You have been holding on to memories as if they were anchors, not realizing that anchors keep things in place while roots help you grow. You cling to reminiscence because it feels safer than facing the unknown ahead. You remember the laughter, the intensity, the comfort, the warmth. But you forget to notice what's happening now, in the present, where love must exist in order to be real. The universe does not punish you for loving deeply, but it does challenge you to meet truth with bravery. And right now, your soul is calling you to be brave. Not for someone else's sake, but for your own sacred journey. My beloved child, your heart has traveled through an ocean of emotion, sensing what your mind has tried to deny for so long. The weight in your chest, the restless nights, the tears that come without warning, none of that is accidental. It is truth rising within you, calling your attention to a connection that has shifted in ways your spirit can no longer ignore. What you are living through may feel like confusion, but at its core, it is clarity demanding to be acknowledged. And now that you are here, reading these words with your heart wide open, your soul is preparing you for a deeper truth that will transform your understanding of love, presence, and self-worth. You may have spent days convincing yourself that what you feel is just fear. Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of facing a reality that feels too painful to accept. But there is a profound difference between fear and intuitive knowing. Fear clouds your thoughts with what-ifs. Intuition speaks to your heart with unmistakable certainty. And what your intuition has been saying, in quiet moments when the world is still, is that the emotional connection between you and the person you love is no longer alive in the way it once was. You felt a subtle withdrawal, but one that is real, even if they have not said the words out loud. Emotional fading can be more devastating than a dramatic goodbye, because it leaves you caught between hope and truth, between denial and acceptance. Love is not meant to make you feel hollow inside. Love is not meant to leave your heart aching with silence. Love is meant to be alive, present, and mutually nourishing. When a connection begins to change, the shift is not only in their behavior, it is in the energy between you. There may still be affection, kindness, and familiar words, but the spark, the emotional resonance that once made your chest feel light and expansive, begins to dim. And you know this in the depth of your being. You feel it in the moments when you reach for comfort and find only absence. You feel it in the way daily life begins to feel heavy, not because life itself is difficult, but because your soul has outgrown a connection that no longer reflects who you have become. You might fear that acknowledging this change means admitting defeat, but that is not the case. Admitting truth is not defeat. It is liberation. When you finally allow yourself to see what has been unfolding beneath the surface, you are taking ownership of your emotional reality. You are stepping out of denial and into your own power as someone who loves deeply, but also sees clearly. And clarity is your greatest ally right now. It allows you to face what is real, to speak your truth with honesty, and to engage in the emotional conversation that both of you have been avoiding. Perhaps you are wondering why the love between you feels different now. You may be asking yourself, did something happen? Did I miss a sign? Did I misinterpret their presence? The melancholic truth is that sometimes people change in ways they cannot explain. Sometimes they retreat into themselves because of unhealed wounds, unspoken fears, or inner battles they are not equipped to share. And sometimes they love you, but not in the way they once did. Love can be sincere and still evolve into something quieter, less visible, less present. And that transformation does not always come with an explanation. Oftentimes, it reveals itself in the shrinking warmth of everyday moments, in the lack of effort, in the emotional absence that cannot be dressed up by kind words alone. You have waited for signs, for reassurance, for warmth that returns in familiar ways. And yet, the signs you have been given are not illusions. They are reflections of what your heart has already sensed. The distance between you is real. A connection that was once vibrant and alive now feels like a memory you are reliving rather than a present experience you are sharing. And the space between you is growing not because you stopped loving, but because the other person is no longer connecting to love in the same way. Your spirit knows that love cannot be forced. You cannot pull someone into closeness by holding tighter. You cannot create presence through longing alone. Real connection responds to authenticity, vulnerability, and mutual presence. And what your heart needs right now is emotional truth, not postponed pain. So let your soul feel what it needs to feel without resistance. Let the sadness come. Let the longing be acknowledged. Let the ache that lives in your chest speak its name. Because once you let the pain surface, you clear space for truth to breathe. You deserve to speak your truth to the person you love. You deserve to sit with them and express what you have felt in the quiet moments they have never seen. Tell them how your heart has perceived the distance. Tell them how it feels to love someone whose presence no longer resonates with your soul. Speak with honesty that comes from a place of love, not blame. Invite conversation that reaches into emotional reality rather than hiding behind polite words and superficial comfort. Let them see the courage it takes for you to be this vulnerable, not to force a response, but to uncover what is real. And as you prepare to have that conversation, understand that whatever answer comes is part of your journey toward emotional awakening. If they respond with clarity, presence, and renewed warmth, then your honesty will have opened a door to rediscovery. If they reveal that their heart has already drifted, then your courage will have released you from confusion and allowed you to step into truth. Either way, you will walk forward with dignity, self-respect, and emotional integrity. You will no longer be held captive by ambiguity or silence. Let your spiritual guide, the one from heaven who has been urging you to see clearly, stand beside you in courage. They are not whispering to keep you in pain. They are whispering to help you confront truth so that your heart can heal, grow, and love again with wisdom. They are urging you to speak what you feel, to honor your emotional reality, and to trust that whatever comes next serves your highest good, even if it feels excruciating right now. Open your heart and let the truth speak. Share your feelings with someone who listens with empathy. Comment your emotions so they are no longer locked inside you. Subscribe to support as you walk this path of emotional clarity with courage. Do not skip over the truth anymore, for something profound, transformative, and powerful is waiting for you on the other side of honesty. Your life is about to shift in ways that honor your soul and reveal new depths of strength you have yet to discover. Something huge is unfolding within you, and your spirit is ready to meet it with open arms. Stay till the end. Love's greatest lessons are revealing themselves to you now. My beloved child, your heart has endured a long journey, winding through shadows of confusion and piercing lights of insight. You have felt every tear, wrestled with every doubt, and walked through every emotional storm that rose in your spirit. And now, standing at the threshold of what is next, ready to step into clarity and truth, you can feel something undeniable stirring deep within you. It's as though your soul, worn from resistance and denial, has reached a point where it no longer accepts half-truths and emotional illusions. What you have sensed all along, the growing distance, the emotional withdrawal, the subtle fading of warmth, was never your imagination. It was your intuition whispering truth to you at every turn, urging you to pay attention, to listen, to see clearly. As you prepare to close this chapter of your story, I want you to feel the great strength rising inside you, the strength that was born from each moment of honesty you allowed yourself to feel. You have confronted fear. You have acknowledged what hurts. You have faced the reality that sometimes love changes shape instead of disappearing outright. And as painful as that truth has been, it is what brings you here, awake, conscious, and emotionally mature in a way you could not have been before. Your heart has been stretched, not to break you, but to expand you, so you may love with greater wisdom, self-respect, and emotional clarity in the future. When you finally sit down with the person whose presence feels like it is slipping away, let your words be honest and calm, spoken not from panic but from emotional integrity. Look them in the eyes and say what is in your heart. Speak of how you have noticed the emotional distance, how your spirit has felt it, how your intuition never lied to you. Speak gently but firmly, not with accusations but with the openness of someone who refuses to live with confusion anymore. Invite them into a conversation that demands authenticity, not convenience, not avoidance, not shallow responses. Let the atmosphere between you be charged with truth, not fear. In that conversation, you will discover something profound. Clarity is not cruel. Clarity is liberation. And whether the person you love chooses to step back into presence or reveals that their heart has already drifted, your courage will be your salvation. If they choose to return with sincerity, with presence, with renewed emotional commitment, you will know that your honesty opened the door to a deeper connection, one built on truth, not illusion. If they reveal that their heart has already stepped away, then your courage will have given you the gift of clarity instead of endless waiting. You will no longer be suspended in that painful space between hope and reality. You will be standing fully in one or the other, with dignity, self-respect, and emotional integrity. And understand this: if they choose to walk away, it does not mean you were unworthy of love. It does not mean your heart was mistaken. It means that their path was no longer aligned with yours. Sometimes two souls love deeply but are meant to walk separate ways so that each may discover something greater about themselves. Your worth remains intact. Your capacity to love remains intact. You will not be broken. You will be refined by the experience. You will see that love is not measured by permanence but by the truth with which it is lived. Your spiritual guide from heaven, the voice you have felt, the intuition that never left you, the emotional compass that grew stronger with every step of this journey, is standing with you now. They are not there to take away the pain, but to strengthen you so that you face the truth with courage and grace. They are urging you to release denial and embrace reality. They are reminding you that love is not conditional upon another's ability to stay, but upon your willingness to see clearly and love honestly. Your growth through this process is not accidental. It is divine preparation for a deeper, more authentic love that is ready for you further down the path of life. Look at yourself now, not as someone who has lost, but as someone who has awakened. You have learned what it means to feel deeply but also to see clearly. You have learned that emotional honesty is not weakness but strength. You have learned that love, even when it changes form, does not diminish your soul. And most importantly, you have learned that you deserve a love that meets you fully, not just in memory, not just in possibility, but in presence, truth, and mutual emotional engagement. When you walk away from that conversation, with clarity, with truth, with emotional dignity, you will feel a shift inside you. Not a hollow emptiness, but a spaciousness where truth resides. Where hope, not denial, finds its home. Where peace gently replaces the ache of unanswered questions. And in that moment, you will sense the presence of your spiritual guide cheering you on, urging you to breathe deeply, to honor the strength in your chest, and to trust that what comes next holds a love that is stronger, deeper, and more aligned with who you have become. Do not fear the silence that may follow. Do not fear the newness of a tomorrow you never expected. The world you are entering is not barren. It is renewed. It is life after clarity. It is love after truth. And your heart, which has grown through every tremor of emotion, is now ready to receive more than it ever thought possible. You will walk forward with a depth of understanding that few ever reach, a knowledge of your own emotional power, your capacity to love honestly, and your right to be loved in return with full presence. And as you breathe through what comes after, share your truth with someone who listens with warmth. Speak your heart aloud, not as a whisper but as a declaration of who you now are, someone who knows love, knows pain, and still chooses to move forward with strength. Comment what you feel. Let your voice be heard. And when you feel ready, subscribe to the wisdom that comes from emotional courage, so that your heart continues to grow with every truth you honor. Don't skip over your courage. Your transformation is profound. Something huge is unfolding within your spirit, and your life is shifting into a reality that reflects your truest self. Stay present as love expands into your future. Your heart is ready, and what comes next is a new kind of love, one born from truth, resilience, and unshakable clarity.